Good morning, students. Today we'll continue with the chapter The Last Lesson. I hope you remember whatever we had done yesterday. We were talking about little French when he entered the school. It was quite silent there, and his teacher M. Himmel was not very strict today. And he saw some villagers sitting at the back benches of the classroom, and he could understand when the teacher announced that he was going to give his last French lesson. So he could understand the whole matter, why the villagers had come to the school. They had come to express their gratitude for the 40 years of his teacher M. Himmel. Okay, so we'll move further. We'll start from here. While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through, very loud and clear, and without one mistake? But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there, holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. When I was thinking of all this, was about the villagers, the last lesson, and the unusual things that happened in the school that day. Friend says that I heard my name called, and now it was his turn to recite. Recite what? The participles. He was supposed to be prepared with participles that day. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful, that fearful, because he was always scared of the rule for the participles. But that day he could recite it very loud and clear and without one mistake. But somewhere he got mixed up. He was confused on the first words and he stood there. His heart started beating. He was very nervous and he did not dare to look up. I heard M. Himmel say to me, I won't scold you, little French. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, bah, I have plenty of time. I'll learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. Ah, that's the great trouble. Vidal said, she puts off learning till tomorrow. Now these fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it you pretend to be Frenchmen and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst, poor little French. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. So French says, I heard M. Himmel say to me, I won't scold you. His teacher says, I will not scold you, little French. Maybe you are feeling very bad that you have not learnt the language very properly. Because every day they used to say to themselves, we have plenty of time. And children, this is our habit. Sometimes we just linger on the things. We are not so serious about our studies, and we say to ourselves that we have got plenty of time and we'll learn the things later on. So they also, little French says that he did not learn the lesson, and he always says that yes, I'll learn it tomorrow. But now see where we have come out. Now they have come to the point when there is no opportunity to learn the language at all. And that's the great trouble with that district, with that place. Because she puts off learning till tomorrow, they always lingered on the things. But now these fellows out there will have the right to say, now these people, Germans, will call them that you pretend to be Frenchmen but you don't know how to write and how to speak your language. But he says that we have all a great deal to reproach ourselves, means we all have to be blamed for it. Not only you yourself are responsible for this, we all are responsible for this poor learning of French. How? Just see. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They prefer to put you on work on a farm or at the mills. Your parents used to send you to work on a farm or at the mills so as to have a little more money. So they wanted to earn money, and that's why sometimes they used to send you to work on the farms. They did not send you to school. And I, M. Himmel says that I was also sometimes not serious about the studies. I have sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons. And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not give you a holiday? I sometimes used to give you a holiday when I wanted to go for fishing. So the parents as well as my, myself, they are responsible for the poor French learning. Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us, because when the people are enslaved, it's a very beautiful line, children. When the people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. In the beginning, I have already explained this thing, that when you are enslaved, when you are imprisoned, if you know your language very well, you feel as if you have the key to that prison. Then he opened a grammar and read us a lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood. That day, little French did not feel any difficulty in learning the things, because children, it happens. This is all in our minds. Sometimes we are not so serious, that's why we don't understand the things. But when we make it a point that we will learn the things, when we think that we will learn the things, we do the things. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully, and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. That day, M. Hamel was also very particular about his studies. He was very patiently teaching the students. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away, and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. At one stroke, all he wanted to give all his knowledge just at one go to us. It is because that was his last lesson. M. Hamel was going to give his last lesson, so he wanted to give whatever he knew about French language, whatever he wanted, whatever he knew, whatever he could give to the students, he wanted to give all. Okay. Now, after the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, M. Hamel had new copies for us, written in beautiful round hand. France, Alsace, France, Alsace. They looked like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of the desks. Okay, you ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Sometimes this question comes in the boards. Okay, the scratching of the pens over the paper. Only this was the only sound. Once some beetles flew in, nobody paid any attention to them, because they were all engrossed in their studies. Not even the littlest ones, means all, not only the little boys, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was French too. On the roof, the peasants cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the peasants? I've already explained the thing that they cannot. These Germans can enslave them, the people, but they cannot enslave nature. They cannot enslave the birds. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. He wanted to cherish the sweet memory. He wanted to retain all the memories of that classroom in his mind. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. Just like that. Only the desks and benches had been worn smooth, and walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hop vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. Now he was looking at each and everything in the classroom, beyond the classroom, outside the classroom, his garden, his trees, his vines, everything he was looking, and he was feeling very upset that he is going to leave all these things. He had to leave all these things. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all. Poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. It was a residential school, so above the classroom there was the teacher's room, and his sister was packing all the things because they had to leave the country next day. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a lesson in history. First, they had grammar, then the writing portion, and now they had a lesson in history. And then the babies chanted their ba bee bee bo bo. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and, holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. You could see that he too was crying. Everybody was crying. Everybody was feeling very sad. His voice trembled with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. Ah, how well I remember it, the last lesson. And now, this way, little French experienced his last lesson. All at once, the church clock struck 12, then the Angelus. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill sounded under our windows. Now he could see the Prussian soldiers doing their drilling. M. Hamel stood up very pale. Pale means very weak in his chair. Now, here, pale means very sad. I never saw him look so tall. Tall here doesn't mean that physically he had grown tall. Tall here means he had been very confident, very important, very honorable. Okay, my friends, said he. I just repeatedly I has been used because wanted to say that he was murmuring. He was not able to speak properly. He was getting very emotional. But something choked him. He could not go on. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and, bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, Viva la France, means long live France. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture to us with his hand. He did not speak anything. He could not speak. He just made a gesture, made a point to us with his hand. School is dismissed, you may go. So at the end he was so disturbed, emotionally so disturbed, that he did not speak. He could not utter a single word. He just pointed towards us and said, the school is dismissed, you may go. So this is all about the last lesson, how little French could take he took his last lesson, and how his love for the learning French all of a sudden started growing. His teacher, his love for his lesson, all this has been described. You have read the chapter. Now tomorrow we will do the questions.